I made this beat, bitch.
Just Detroit alone, it carries a bad name. You could go to Los Angeles, New York, anywhere, and then people will just look at you different because you say you're from Detroit. The way you carry it, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you from Detroit, huh?" Like, look at you like, "Oh, you might be grimy." Like, no, I'm not grimy. Just because I'm from Detroit, that don't make me grimy, and that don't make me a bad person. But it don't also make me a good person either. It just don't make me an angel, because we're not an angel city. We do what we do, and the city has what it has. But it's still like a mini stride of, bro, you got to give us opportunity just like you want us to give you opportunity. You want to come invade our city and sell what you got going on, so just be cool when we come and let us do what we do, you know?
But then, you know, there's also, see, you're right in one sense, but there's also the fact that during the era that I came up, people always looked at you because you was from Detroit. And because when I first went into the military, there you coming in contact with people from all over. Mm-hmm. So when I would tell people that was from New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, I'm from Detroit. You from Detroit? Mm-hmm. Man, y'all the Motor City capital. Y'all the music capital. Y'all the fashion capital. Everybody looked at us like, y'all the man. Mm-hmm. That's the way we were looked at. Mm-hmm. Even now, and I was just talking to somebody about this. We went through the emergency management. People still look at Detroit because they say, okay, y'all came out of it. How do y'all do it? Because we're going through the same thing. So we're going to learn from y'all. So Detroit has always been that mecca, that media where people, we kind of like have made that impact on others. Mm-hmm. You know?
I could agree.
And then, but then you had that era, like you said, you had that era where we were the murder capital of the world.
Yes.
And then people started looking like, oh,
I don't want to go to Detroit.
Right.
I'm straight.
Right.
I'm straight. No,
but,
don't let them over here. It was like a gun line to
that's
every
right.
border. It was
that's
like,
right.
Don't let them cross the gun line, boss.
Yeah.
Please don't let them back across. Get them back up.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt like if you ever drove outside of Detroit, just even when you got, it was like the police was sitting right there, like, y'all better not cross this gun line. Mm-hmm. You cross the gun line, you better be totally legit and going to Cedar Point.
Right.
That's where you better have a straight path to where you going. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either, because like everybody that's coming out of Detroit, like I said, is not a bad person. But everybody it's some people that have made bad things happen, and it make us look bad. But hey,
Detroit has always been looked
at. You get what I'm saying? As long as you looking, as long as you can pay attention to what we got going on. So you're in high school, you had your fights, your friends is always there for you. You know you got your core friends. What made you decide to go to the Army? Wait, did you go to the Army or did you join the police force?
I joined the police force first.
Okay, so what year did we join the police force?
I joined the police force after I graduated from college. Okay. Which was 1978, Eastern Michigan University.
Okay, Eastern in the building.
And I came back and I graduated December 1977, January 1978 I was in the police academy. And we were on, and that's when we had, because what happened was that was during the era when Coleman Young was recruiting a lot of blacks to come on to the Detroit Police Department. But he used CETA funds that came from the federal government to do that. And what they were supposed to do is when the funds ran out, they were supposed to have enough money to keep us on, but that didn't happen. So that's when we had 1,000 layoffs of police officers. Mm-hmm. And that's when I went into the military. And doing that layoff, and I was in the military for active duty for 5 years, and then I remained in the reserves, and I put 23 and a half years altogether.
Now, what rank of police did you end up at?
I ended up being a lieutenant when I retired.
How did it feel being a lieutenant? Police officer at that. We talking police. Mm-hmm. You the lieutenant, so you the one that's like, you that one that come in on most movies. I'm just giving you my image of the lieutenant. You was the one that used to come in with your cup of coffee, with your jacket, bent in, and you used to be like, now tell me something. Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to hear that. Go do it. And close your door. Boom.
It was like this. It was more than that, because after I got laid off, I said that I wanted to make rank. because if it ever came again, by the time they got to me, then I would have another job. So what I looked at is that I wanted to make, I made investigator, I made sergeant, and I made lieutenant.
How was it being an investigator?
It was all I was a detective.
Right.
And see, when I was an investigator, I was with Internal Affairs, and I was with the Detective Bureau, mainly with Internal Affairs. So it was just an era where what I looked at is I wanted to never be in a position where they could just come after me and lay me off, and put me in a position.
Right.
So that's mainly what the rank structure came about.
Okay.
And then when I made lieutenant, I became in charge of homicide, and it wasn't like, no, you just go there and close it up, because you're talking about the most heinous crime in the city of Detroit. So you had to, it wasn't just one particular area, you were talking about the whole city of Detroit.
City. Right, that's what I'm saying.
So it was a thing where you had to be up on it, because not only do you have to be up on because people want answers as to what's happened to their loved one and what you're doing about it, you also had to be up on it because the media was saying, okay, what are you doing about this? What happened with this? And there's certain things you can tell the media, certain things you can't tell the media. Right. Especially if you're looking for a suspect, because if you're looking for somebody, they're going to get that information. That's going to help them either beat the case or get away from it. So there were certain things we did use the media for, and certain things we didn't. So it wasn't just a thing of I'm sitting there with my coffee cup and you go, because you had to be on top. Because the other thing is, when the chief of police was asked, I had to brief the chief of police. So I had to be up on the cases.
To make sure that you was
up on it. Not only the homicides, but the shootings. So I used to have to get in the office and read all the reports, all the shootings, all of that, and then brief the chief. So that when a particular case came up on there, the chief wasn't blindsided. So it wasn't just a thing just sitting back and saying, no, you had to be up on your game.
Oh, so the chief is the one that sit back with the coffee. He told on you. No, but okay, so I don't mean to ask some crazy questions.
No,
I'm into it. What I want to know, like, have you personally ever solved a murder?
Yeah, because see,
how was it?
I saw several homicides, because what it is that you focus on solving them. I think one of the biggest homicides is children.
Yes.
And one of the biggest ones that I had was a child. And to this day it gets me, because what this guy did was he didn't want to pay child support. So what he did was he had a membership at a gym, and he checked in at the gym, and then he left the gym, found out where his child was, and went there like he wanted to register his child, find out where the child is. He took a table leg and beat the child to death. 3-year-old.
Made this beat, bitch.
The police. That was kind of like a crackhead, right?
You talking about the BKs, the Currys, you're talking that was the era. Because you're talking about the 70s when everything was coming in. You had the Curry, Maserati Rick. You had just so many.
YBI,
yeah.